Hello, this is Robert Allen with Sacred Seeds Hemp Farm, and welcome to part 1 of season 2 of our little hemp growing endeavors here in Missouri. And we started season 2 off with a good start. We had our inspection from the Missouri Department of Agriculture, and it was a pleasure meeting Alan and Aaron in person, which we've been corresponding with for quite some time. And I was happy to find that all our paperwork and procedures and everything were up to snuff. So on September 1st, I counted out more than enough seeds to start our next crop, and we decided to use these Rockwool starter plugs, which is my first experience using them. And what we did was we placed them in these tubs and went ahead and wet them down, which they'll hold an amazing amount of water, and then went ahead and separated them all. And there's different ways you can use these. You can sow the seeds directly into the pre-drilled holes, or you can do what we did and germinated first. And we did that for a couple reasons. We wanted to make sure there's a sprout in every cube. Every plant matters. And secondly, the sprouts that sprout first are most likely to be females. So this way we could hand pick, and we did several different batches of germination, and we picked the early ones to further ensure that all our plants would be female. So we got those all tucked in, and within a couple weeks there, they were just about the right size for transplanting. And you may notice these tubs, they were clear when we got them. We painted them to black them out in anticipation of using these to sprout our seeds directly in the cubes next go around. And they had to be blacked out for that, of course. But these things work pretty good, and they're very easy to handle and stuff. So far so good on the Rockwool plugs. Now you notice down here on the end we have some different age plants. These were plants that were used for sex testing. They're considerably older, I think almost 3 weeks older, which works out perfect because we need them to be a couple weeks older than the other plants that we're going to pollinate with. Oh yeah, and then we had a little visitor. This was a beautiful little green hummingbird that found its way through our doors, which I thought was pretty cool until I got to looking really close and thinking about it. You know, this is a bird with a beak the shape of a needle trying to find its way out of a plastic house. And despite our efforts to shoo it out the door, it stuck around for a week or so and ended up dying. But that's nature. So September 21st, we began prepping our beds for planting, and we're not pulling weeds this time around, so we're putting some weed barrier down. We got our holes all marked, and then we cut our X's, which will turn into perfect little squares for us to plant our babies in. And it was a little labor intensive trying to get this all cut and drug out and tacked down, but in the long run I think it'll be better for us. In regard to planting, we use these little bulb planters is what we call them, to remove a small section of the dirt and then replace it with our goodies. So we sprinkled in a little bit of biochar in the bottom, and then we filled them with amended soils. In house 1 we used a more of a sandy type of soil, and then in house 2 we used a more of it's super soil is what it's called, but it had a lot of mulch, and perlite is a real light and fluffy. So 2 different mediums, and just do a little bit of experimenting to see which one works the best. Then we just tuck our little plugs right into the holes we made, and cover them back up with the soil, tuck them in really good. And that was quite the labor intensive process. In house 1 we planted 552, and in house 2 we planted 616, and all hands on deck. So everybody kind of got a little piece of this, and it's a good thing because it took a full day to plant one house and a full day to plant the second house. So I'm going to give them a nice good drink, and here's a little snakeskin I found outside, but I brought it inside just to convince Jason and to get a rise out of him that we had a 5-foot black snake in the greenhouse, which we didn't. But here we go, just the day after planting. As you can see, that we are clearly in house 1 with the different type. It's sort of a felt mat, whereas the other one was a woven polyester style mat and the different kinds of soil. And these are our leftover cubes, which will be used to replace any plants that may perish due to mice or other conditions, which we've already had 3 or 4 little sprouts. And then these are our future reversion plants. We're going to wait until they show their sex and make sure they're females, and we'll go to spraying those and converting them into pollinators. Here's a little peek into house 2. You can notice that we have the fluffy soil in there, more of the mulch and perlite, and the woven plastic type weed barrier. But all in all, it went pretty good. I'll admit it's a few days after we planted and I'm still a little sore, but that's the price you pay for being a hemp farmer in Missouri, I guess. But I think we're off to a good start. They seem to be digging in and loving life, and that's what it's all about. So we have a lot of stuff in the future. We have a container that we're going to convert into a grow room, which we haven't really even taken step 1 of that yet. We were focused more on getting things planted and get the ball rolling, so to speak. And now we're going to kind of shift gears and go back into our designing mode and planning for the future. We're depending on this grow room to use for our reversion plants and future sprouts. All right, man, I thank you guys for sticking with us, and more to come for season 2. This is Robert Allen. Peace.